once more and welcome to the Opta Quiz, where today's 10 tricky teasers are going to take you back to the 2022 World Cup. Before then though, we need to give you the answer to our bonus question from the last episode, which was how many English teams have won the European Cup or UEFA Champions League. Well, thanks to all of you who got in contact across social media and email, where I'm delighted to say most of you got the correct answer of 6. Manchester City, Liverpool, Manchester United, Chelsea, Nottingham Forest, and of course Aston Villa making up that group. Congratulations if you got that right, but it's time to turn your focus to those few weeks in Qatar at the end of 2022 for today's quiz. Our 10 questions are ready and waiting for you, so let's get underway. As ever, we start with question 1, and hopefully this should be the easiest of the episode. Who won the 2022 World Cup? Who won the 2022 World Cup? Question 2, and Saudi Arabia set a World Cup record for the most yellow cards in a single group stage, but how many did they receive? Don't worry, we're going to make it a little easier and give you some choices here. Was it 12, 14 or 16? Saudi Arabia set a World Cup record for the most yellow cards in a single group stage, and how many did they receive? Was it 12, 14 or 16? Question 3, and which team has recorded the most goalless draws in World Cup history? Which country has recorded the most goalless draws in World Cup history? And a little clue for you, they recorded their 12th such draw against the United States. Question 4, and we need to take you back to the very first game of the tournament and ask, what did Qatar become the first host nation to do in a World Cup? What did Qatar become the first host nation to do in a World Cup? Talking about firsts, question 5 is the return of our sound clues, but can you tell us who made history with this goal for Canada?
On the right side, Buchanan with the cross into it. He missed the penalty in the opener. He makes amends today.
Couple of extra clues in there for you, but who made history with that goal for Canada? 5 down, 5 to go, and we start the second half by needing to talk about Gavi, who scored against Costa Rica at the age of 18 years and 110 days old. However, he's not the youngest to do so in a World Cup, so question 6, all we want to know is, who is the youngest goalscorer at a World Cup? Who is the youngest goalscorer at a World Cup? We haven't mentioned him much so far, but for question 7, we want to know what was unique about Lionel Messi's goal against Australia in the last 16 that was different from his previous 8 goals in all his World Cup appearances. What was unique about Lionel Messi's goal against Australia in the last 16 that was different to all of his previous 8 goals in all his World Cup appearances? Closing in on the end, but question 8, what did France become the first nation to do since Brazil in 2002 and the first European country to do since Germany in 1990? What did France become the first nation to do since Brazil in 2002 and the first European country to do since Germany in 1990? Question 9, and another sound clue for you. What record did Harry Kane break with this strike against Senegal?
Bellingham can, as he strides forward over the halfway line. Foden with the ball into Harry Kane. Can England finish the first half in style? You bet they can! Harry Kane's first goal of this World Cup.
What record did Harry Kane break with this strike against Senegal? And finally, question number 10. What did Cameroon become the first African nation to do in World Cup history? What did Cameroon become the first African nation to do in World Cup history? Well, hopefully those tested your knowledge and you were able to have a response for each of them. We'll bring you the answers in just a second, but you can rewind and go back to hear them one more time if you want to. Don't forget, we'd love for you to follow and interact with us across our social media accounts. We are at Opta Analyst on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and TikTok, and of course we'd love to hear from you about how you got on and what you've had to think about the Opta Quiz so far. Right then, I think we're ready to hear those all-important answers. So we started it off nice and easy with question 1, who won the 2022 World Cup? Well, of course, I hope you all knew it was Argentina winning it for the third time, ending 36 years of hurt since their last triumph in 1986. Although that's not the longest gap between winning 2 World Cups, with Italy holding that honour with a 44-year wait between 1938 and 1982. Question 2 was all about Saudi Arabia setting a World Cup record for the most yellow cards in a single group stage. We just wanted to know how many did they receive, and the correct answer was 14. But despite that, only 2 red cards were actually shown in the 48 group stage games overall. So maybe it wasn't necessarily a that dirtier tournament. Question 3 saw us asking you which country had recorded the most goalless draws in World Cup history. They recorded their 12th such draw against the United States. It is, of course, England is the correct answer there. That goalless draw was actually the USA's first ever in their competition history. We went all the way back to the very first game of the tournament for question number 4 and asked you what did Qatar become the first host nation to do in a World Cup, and that was lose their opening game of the tournament. Previously, hosts had won 16 and drawn 6, but Qatar became the first host nation to lose their first game. Right, let's get into the sound clues now, shall we, for question number 5, and we're going to take out the gap this time around as we'll reveal who made history with this goal for Canada.
On the right side, Buchanan with the cross in towards Alphonso Davies! He missed the penalty in the opener! He makes amends today!
Congratulations if you were able to fill in the blank there. Alphonso Davies with the first ever goal for Canada at the World Cup. It was a game where history was also made by Atiba Hutchinson, as he became the first player to make 100 appearances for the Canadian national team. We kept on the theme of goal scorers for question number 6, as we wanted to know who is the youngest goal scorer at a World Cup. And congratulations if you got this one right. Pelé is the man we were looking for when he scored for Brazil against Sweden in the 1958 final at the, and I think I can use this word, tender age of 17 years and 249 days old. More legendary World Cup goal scorers now, because we wanted to know what was unique about Lionel Messi's goal against Australia in the last 16 that was different to his previous 8 goals in all his other World Cup appearances. I'm hoping you got this one right, because it was his first goal in the knockout stages at a tournament, and there was no stopping him from there, as he became the first ever player to score in the group stage, last 16, quarterfinals, semi-final and final in a single edition of the tournament. Of course, some of those goals in the final came against France, which was the topic of question number 8, as they became the first nation since Brazil in 2002 and the first European nation since Germany in 1990 to make it to back-to-back finals. What a memorable final it was. Is there a chance that Mbappe and co could make it a treble in 2026? Who knows? Question 9, it was another one of our sound clues. We wanted to know what record did Harry Kane break with this strike against Senegal? Well, he became England's highest ever scorer in major tournaments. He has since gone on as well to break the record for the most goals for England's men's team overall. And finally, for question number 10, we wanted to know what did Cameroon become the first African nation to do in World Cup history? Well, they became the first African team to beat Brazil. African nations had previously lost all 7 matches against the Seleção, conceding 20 goals in the process. So that's it for this episode of the Opta Quiz. Thanks very much for taking part, and please do let us know how you got on by dropping us a message on social media. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and TikTok, where we are at Opta Analysts across the board. Or of course, if you want to be a little bit more old-fashioned, you can drop us an email, editors@theanalyst.com, where you can also answer our bonus question just for fun, which this time around is, how many players have scored hat-tricks in World Cup finals? How many players have scored hat-tricks in World Cup finals? Again, let us know your score and the answer to that question on our social media channels or via email. And don't forget to check out all the other great articles we've got on theanalyst.com. Plenty of stories and facts to keep you interested. But once again, thanks very much for playing the Opta Quiz, and we'll see you again soon.